I'm going to roll with the Fields of Green update. So as we've been saying, and we said last week, it's been the week of public hearings. They're in Parliament, on Zoom, and on the Parliament's YouTube channel. So you can find, if you go to the Parliament's YouTube channel, you can then just search for the Portfolio Committee of Justice and Correctional Services. And then you'll go to that particular playlist from, and you can search the cannabis bill hearings. So I must say that technically it nearly went off without a hitch. At the moment we're still bothering the committee to release the recording, if there is one, from the Zoom of Jeremy and Gareth's presentations on Tuesday morning, because unfortunately I didn't catch Jeremy, I caught Gareth. And I haven't seen it yet. And apparently, Mr. Acton was on fire.
Apparently, he was shouting, and he was apparently he was making a big
Now the recording on
stink.
YouTube is muted. There's no sound.
Apparently, there's no sound.
Which is incredibly frustrating, and I hope that they do come up with a way to recover that.
I have, and I think a few other people have also written to the committee to say, is there something we can do to remedy that? So we started off with Jeremy and Gareth and a few people on Tuesday, and you know, the lineup was incredibly interesting. Joe's put it here for us to have a look at.
I've got that. It's for when Warren comes on just now for his.
Okay, but I'm just going to have a little look
talk.
through here just to remind me, because there's been so much. So we had Jeremy, we had Gareth. If you go and look at Newsroom Africa, if you look at their feed on YouTube, you will find an interview with Gareth, with Stephen Curtis, that is really amazing. It's about a 12-minute interview. Thanks very much. There, it's up on the screen. So hopefully, Jeremy, we are, you must also write to the committee if you're watching, Jeremy, and ask them to please see if they can sort out that technical issue with and then we will certainly be sharing some of those presentations through the next few weeks. I think it's very, very good content, because you get such a perspective from all different people. After Gareth was Kasatu, so it was the Honourable Tony Ehrenreich, who's the Member of Parliament and big ups in Kasatu, and it was just such a balanced presentation from Kasatu. And you know, we always have, and Charles will contest to the fact that this business of testing in the workplace, it was a very strongly worded presentation, and I love the fact that we have such an incredibly powerful trade union on our side, as it were. Definitely. I must say here that all of those presentations were overwhelmingly positive and overwhelmingly negative when it came to actually supporting the bill. Yeah. Nobody supporting the bill. Then we saw the turn of the Eastern Cape government. I'm not quite sure why the government was talking in public hearings. It was a little bit contentious because they were a little bit accepting of some parts of the bill. And Ricky Stone actually spoke about that in his presentation, which was this afternoon. Then we heard from the Centre for Child Law, and the most important point that they made was that there are existing laws for children, but there are also existing laws for everything else. Like the Cannabis Trade Association said today, there are existing laws for businesses, and all we need is for those existing laws to be complied. We don't need new laws for businesses, and then we put the cannabis laws on top of it, and let's have a law sandwich, you know? Yeah. So the Centre for Child Law were really, the advocate that presented was so impeccable, and he spoke with a very precise manner that it made it very, very clear that there is no way you are criminalizing or locking up children or their parents.
Sending them
to rehab.
That's such a great thing that they have that view, because it does, it destroys families. Where, like we've said, where one of the partners might need it and uses it because they don't want to get drunk and fucked up. They would rather just smoke, and the other partner will use it against them. And it's terrible.
Kasatu brought up those kids that were randomly tested at school and sent to a juvenile detention.
That was the Centre for Child Law.
We're saying instead of looking at as a problem of crime, we should be looking at it as a public health issue.
Yeah, which has been the thing with drug policy forever and ever, you know.
Forever.
Then after the Centre for Child Law, we had our darlings from Schindler's Attorneys. It was so amazing. I know that they were caught off guard because the program had been squashed somewhat. Paul Michael and Andrew, thank you so much. Paul Michael, thank you for always being as eloquent as ever. Andrew, thank you for pulling it together at the last minute, and thank you for mentioning Fields of Green and our manifesto. And Paul Michael even quoted me saying, "Who's going to come and count my whiskey?" So clear, concise, amazing presentations.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoon, we had the Traditional Healers Organization, the Rastafari, CIDACA, who we don't really know very much, Kanakaru, the Cannabis Action Group. Those are all there on the YouTube channel for you to go and see. And then yesterday afternoon it was actually yesterday morning, was our turn at Fields of Green. And what happened is that we woke up in the morning at the jazz farm and there was no electricity. So now what do we do? So I thought, I'm going to go to Neilio's, Captain Stream. So I phoned Captain Stream, I said, "Can I come over?" And he said, "Sure, I'm putting the coffee on." So I quickly put the lipstick on, got in the car, went over to Neilio, got there, opened my laptop, opened my email, and there was an email from the chairperson saying, "Are you ready to present?" So I said, "No, give me 10 minutes. Adjourned for 10 minutes, and then boom. We quickly dressed, a nice picture of Jules behind me and a nice Alex Gray print. And yeah, thank you Captain Stream, it really helped. And now I got biscuits and orange juice and yogurt and coffee and everything. It was great. It was really good to have it over. I think it's at 2 minutes 33 and the Tuesday presentations that you can find my presentation. Well, actually don't call it my presentation, it's Fields of Green for All's presentation. Then what was most interesting for me was the questions. All the way through. The questions were relevant, they were insightful. The Honourable Co-Chair of the committee, I'm sorry madam, I can't remember your surname, but Honourable Vilma, she asked questions throughout all of the sessions and they were always just, really, really on point. I was running out of time towards the end, so I was kind of rushing, and she brought me back and she said, "But tell me about these Dachau private clubs." So I had a chance to actually go back to my notes and tell her everything that I was trying to say. So I think that we got it over there, I got it in about Jules's murder and that there's been no investigation. All of those things. I think that it's been dense. Yeah, it's been dense, and I was so pleased when it was over.
I stood through your whole, but I was at home watching this. I had my phone, and I literally, every time I sat down, I was like, "No, I can't sit down." And I stood and I watched the whole thing. Gave you a little round of applause when you were done. It was amazing. You were on fire and on point, and her questions were phenomenal because
I was very grateful for
that she'd been paying attention to what she'd been saying.
They asked questions that were pertinent to what was being saying then, and not just the normal rhetoric flippin' blah.
Yeah.
I was like, these people are actually asking proper questions. This is great. They're engaging with what you're saying. This is amazing. This is what we need. Them to actually now be inquisitive about what we're showing them and what we can offer them and explain this. And it was really good. It was a good turn,
it was such a contrast to the Department of Health last week, because the Department of Health, they only just stopped short of talking about the gateway drug, It was only about the children, And then these presenters were, yes, what about the children? They're our children in our private space, There wasn't not even a whiff of, but what about the harms? What about the harms? It was constructive and engaging.
It was like having a conversation with grown-ups.
Yeah. And then we started again this afternoon, and yesterday as well, the Growers Club, otherwise known as Holy Basil, they seem to be the only people who supported the bill in the whole lot. But I have spoken to them since their presentation, so I actually want to reserve comment on that, because I'm going to see whether Moritz and the people there can come on the show. I've made an appointment to have a chat with them in about 10 days' time. And we really, really look forward to finding out how come there was in so much support of the bill. But that's for another day. And then we had Jordan from Green Smoke Room. Can you believe that one of our affiliate companies was on these parliamentary presentations. Isn't that amazing? And it was all about this bottom line. When are you going to make seeds legal? When are you going to make seeds legal? And it was such an important presentation.
Pertinent question.
Yeah.
When?
Yeah, when? What is it about?
Everyone's going to plant, so
what are they
where's
planting?
the seeds?
Yeah.
Because it is the very base of what we're all talking about. The
Yeah.
very,
That's
very
it starts,
base.
Beginning of it all.
Without those, none of this would be happening. So
It's impossible.
So well done, Jordan. I'm hoping that you can also come into the studio and tell us how it felt to be speaking to the Honourable Committee.
It's
quite something, It's quite something.
Jordan, if you're watching, you were seriously on it, Brew. We're proud of you, and we're proud that Green Smokum is one of our affiliates. We're actually proud of all of our affiliates, aren't
We
we?
really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really are.
So then we went on today to a few other from sort of 1 o'clock today. The first up was the Umzimvubu Farmers Support Network. I mean, how amazing. Ricky, you did us proud. You were so amazing in your Kosa headband and then can you imagine that Greek and the chief were sitting with Simon Strainhunter doing all the technical stuff in the backpackers in Lusikisiki. And they only just managed to get there in time and get everything set up. So, you know, those are the challenges. They had to walk and then drive, you know, to get there and try and get enough signal. Their signal was a bit iffy in places, but they pulled it together.
They
because
did,
they are
and they spoke
people.
beautifully.
They spoke beautifully.
Really proud of you
Greek,
guys.
you were awesome. The chief, you really, really do the traditional leaders proud, our brother, you know. We do have our opinions about the traditional leaders, and Chieftain Wire, thank you. Ricky, Simon for your support. Greek, you were amazing. Pila, we saw you on the feed, and we really do really encourage you to go and watch the UFSN presentation. It starts at the beginning of today's proceedings, and then after that was the Cannabis Trade Association. Big shout out to everybody there. You know, they are affiliates of ours and we are affiliates of them. We belong to the Cannabis Trade Association, and they are all about trade. And
Trade.
isn't that what they hate about us?
Yeah.
They don't want us dealing.
Yeah.
You know?
it is us.
Black market, free market.
Yeah, free
It's the
market.
free market.
I mean, I don't go to my
Legacy
local Pick and
market.
Pay because they're my local bread dealer.
You know.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. So they really did us proud, and it was a very fiery, you know, a very eloquent presentation. And then we had the Rastafari National Council. We saw through the days we saw quite a few Rastafari groups being represented. The Nyabingi. And the brothers really brought this message of the religious use, the traditional use, the use of cannabis within the family home. They really brought the message home to the committee, and we really appreciate that. And we loved all of the greetings in the beginning of the Rastafari presentations. You know, it was really so real.
Yeah.
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 And then my last big shout out is to the South African Drug Policy Initiative. Dr. Keith Scott, you were awesome. I saw that you were beaming out from my bedroom, where I stayed with you the last time we were in Cape Town. So, put the kettle on. We're going to come and visit again sometime soon. You know, Dr. Scott has always been the voice of reason when it comes to broader drug policy in South Africa. And he almost bridges that gap between cannabis, and we know psilocybin is coming. We know that the other so-called drugs are coming, and we know that cannabis is the gateway drug to broader drug policy in South Africa. So I think that Dr. Scott's presentation, Keith, thank you. You are the gateway to greater drug policy.
Yeah.
And you know, Keith's always there in the background doing things. You know, every now and again he pops on and he's on 702, or he's on Cape Talk, or he's on, you know, he's written a piece for the newspaper, and we really appreciate that work that's going on in the background. And then that's about it from me for the Fields of Green update. I just want to also say thank you to the media. Cannabis Africa, thanks very much for the great article about Ricky that you must have been bashing out while he was still talking. Thank you to Newsroom Africa, Stephen Curtis. Lovely to speak to you again. I had an interview with them yesterday. Cape Talk today. It was great speaking to Lester Kivitt. You know that the winds of change are blowing when the radio stations and the media start contacting you. Thank you for always thinking of us here at Fields of Green and giving us the airtime. It's really, really great. And that's what we've been doing because there hasn't been very much time for anything else this week.